Woo! We're on.
We there?
Yay! We're here. Hello
Are we there yet?
We're there. Oh my gosh. Welcome back to Kanata's Castle. It's been since, I think our last show that we put out was in March. So
I don't remember.
It was March.
It's been a while. We've been stuck on Tatooine. That's another story.
But there's a lot happening on Tatooine.
Well, my son was complaining, oh, we're going back to Tatooine, but you know what? Okay.
I'm okay with that dust ball of a planet.
That's where it all began. You just can't, you got to go back.
Right. And it's kind of like that feeling that you get when they first gave us that trailer for The Force Awakens, and you get that ending of Han and Chewie, and he's like, Chewie, we're home. And it's like, that's how you feel with this. And
yeah,
I think that's like probably the best way to start this is, I think that initial feeling when, we got our very first look, before we even got part one, right? And part two, because they dropped him at the same time, which I wasn't expecting that when they first said that.
Yeah.
But, that first official trailer and that feeling, it was like we never left these characters. It was like Revenge of the Sith just ended today. And here's where we are.
I know.
It was crazy. Oh my gosh. So, yeah, I mean, how are you feeling with all this, Dev? I'm just curious. Overall, the feeling of seeing Ewan back, Hayden back, these characters back, and characters we didn't think we would get, new characters that we got, like just going back. How's it been for you so far?
It's been very enjoyable. It's been exciting. Like, one of the things I noticed, especially from the last episode, and we're going to talk about the whole thing, but you're honestly getting the same feeling like you do when you watch A New Hope. You know how it ends, but you still just like, are they going to get the Death Star or not? Every time you worry about that. So these people are going to make it to another 9 years, some of them. But still you think, oh no, they're not going to make it.
Yes.
I don't know.
That whole, like, you're talking to the screen, you're talking to these people that aren't there. Like,
right.
Don't do that. No, you really don't. No, you don't. Just, oh, they did. Yeah, you're doing all that. Yeah, I just, and I'm sorry, I'm totally laughing because I've got the Anakin looming over behind me with this saber.
Yeah. He looks kind of
I'm
mad,
an old Lane. I'm not a young Lane. Am I safe? Probably not. I'm sorry. Yes, I have to go there and make a joke of that. But yeah, I mean, I just want to say too, the whole music with Natalie Holt, which, by the way, she did Loki, and I absolutely love the music from that series. So, and she's done more than that, but that's the first thing that awesome. Yeah. So she's like you said off air, we were talking that she's really hit so many of those notes that really meant a lot to us from the original trilogy and from the prequels, obviously. And she's nailing it with the scenes. And gotta hand it to John Williams. I mean, how old is he now? 91?
Yeah, over 90, yeah.
Was he 91? I don't know. If I'm wrong, someone I'm sure will correct me.
I mean, he was at Celebration. You guys got this.
I did Kenobi. Not. Well, that was going on.
You didn't see it, but
no.
He did perform it live.
Yes.
I mean, with a live orchestra.
Yep.
His Kenobi theme, yeah.
Yeah. And the only time I've seen him do anything like that was at Celebration in Orlando. And it was the year after Carrie had passed on, and he did Leia's theme, and that like broke me.
It was awful. It was
yeah. But yeah, to see him and to hear it live, it's a whole different dynamic than what you get, obviously, while watching what we watch. It's just impressive. The overall feeling of, like you said, being back and feeling like we're home and being able to watch these characters, because again, that's 20 years of Dust Ball Planet just staying in the distance, fighting off Tusken Raiders and Crate Dragons and whatever. Like, we just didn't know. What did Obi-Wan do? Well, now we find out he's working in a Purgle butcher block, chopping up Purgle meat to make his daily, living, basically, to feed his Eope and to, buy his own stuff that the Jawas have stolen back.
I keep stealing. That was so funny. You can't
thanks,
keep
Neil.
taking my things and selling it back to me.
Right. Neil's just said that John is 90. So thank you. I was going 91. See, I was giving him an extra year. So we'll just take that back.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we don't want to do that. When you reach a certain age, you don't want to add years. You want to take some away.
I know.
I'm there.
Well, and that's just like, he's lucky to get to that age.
Oh,
my mother-in-law is 97. I mean, she's like, I never thought I'd live this long.
Right. Good genes. Oh, my gosh.
Holy cow, yeah. And he's still doing stuff. I mean,
it's impressive.
Still creating. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Got to keep that mind going. That's part of it. Can't sit still, and you got to keep the mind going. Those are two big things.
Well, I loaded up the Wikipedia for Kenobi.
Okay.
And I did notice, and I had seen a couple of breakdown shows where they talked about how they're not naming these with any titles. It's
nope, they're just by parts.
Part 2.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the first episode was just something else, because we got a little bit of that Jedi purge, and I was like, oh no, they're going there right away.
Right? Yeah, definitely not. I'm glad you brought that up. Definitely did not expect that. Hi, Lauren. So she's awesome, by the way. I finally got to meet her in person at Celebration. We've done a lot of talking online. So hi, Lauren.
Lauren.
So yeah, getting that glimpse of moments, just sheer moments before, I mean, obviously it was already happening in other rooms of the temple, correct? But just to see, I mean, first of all, the room, where they were, under the stars, in a sense, all the plant life, very serene, very tranquil. Right. They're almost like in meditation.
They were just doing their kata. They were they were just
and they were in such a meditative, state, and then bam. And it's like, and what's interesting, what I will give Deborah this, what I love about this, and of course the writing with Joby, is you get to see younglings actually as younglings. They're kids. They may be force sensitive, but they're still, at the end of the day, they're just kids, and they're scared. Mm-hmm. And that master that's leading them means everything, because once that is gone, they're on their own.
Yeah.
And this is something you and I have talked at length about, our orphans, children in Star Wars, the PTSD, what they go through. And to pick that storyline up and really give us a twist on that,
I was not
huge.
Expecting. I wasn't. Yeah, on the last episode, I was not expecting that plot twist. Yeah. So spoilers, by the way, and I'm certain everybody who's watching, we are not holding back. This is everything up until the final episode coming on Wednesday, that we are just sort of spilling our guts. So
we are
watch
gushing.
Out.
Yeah,
if you haven't watched.
So I mean, let's talk about that for a minute, because we were just saying that off air. Like, this is, because with every Star Wars film or whatever series, whether it be animation or live action now, they have more than one plot line going on. There's side stories and whatnot. So Reva's story, I really want to talk about that, because now that we know how this all connects right from the very first, like right out of the gate,
Mm-hmm.
How are you feeling about this? I mean, it's something that we've talked about, these orphan kids, PTSD, fighting the fight from, 10. I mean, she was probably like Leia's age at that point, right? 10 years
Yeah.
old, 9,
Yeah.
maybe a little bit older, whatever. And does it really matter? No, because she's a kid. What a unique twist and story. Like, we've never gotten anything like this before in Star Wars. We have a
Yeah.
surviving youngling, not just a surviving Jedi from the Purge, but a surviving youngling who escaped Darth Vader, Anakin Skywalker. She
Well,
recognized him as Anakin Skywalker.
she thought she escaped, but he knew. He
Mm-hmm.
told her he knew she was hiding.
You're
He
right.
knew. So he planned on using her from the get-go. At some point, he could either get, some use out of her, or it just was was really shocking, actually, when the Grand Inquisitor shows back up. Like, we knew what you were doing. So that was really, really bad for
It
her at
is.
that
I
point,
mean,
because he toyed with her after that. But her, I guess I'm getting off topic, though. Um, I just think that she has obviously tapped into the dark side to become, even if she was becoming it with a motive to destroy Vader, that's also not very Jedi when you think about it. Um, to do what she's done, because some of the things that she did in the first few episodes, even the other inquisitors were questioning her, and I think she was over the top like that on purpose. And I'm sure it didn't help, her connection with the light side at all. Because she
no.
cut that woman's hand off, and you
Mm-hmm.
know, and she was.
I see her as mirroring Anakin Skywalker in a lot of ways.
Mhm.
Anakin cut off Windu's hand because, he needed Palpatine. Um, so, same thing.
Hands? What do you mean? And his
Well, he cut
head?
off, no, he cut off Mace Windu's
Not
hand,
Windu.
but he
Oh,
cut
sorry.
off
I thought you were
Dooku's
talking about.
head.
I was thinking of
Um,
Dooku. Okay.
but there's a lot of similarities in between her and Anakin. I think, like you said, he knew who she was and what, and I think he was just waiting, like you said, waiting and baiting in a sense. But he also saw something in her. I don't deny that, because loyalty has always meant everything to Anakin Skywalker. And
Yeah.
Anakin Skywalker is still Darth Vader. Darth Vader is still Anakin. Hayden has done many interviews where he said that he sees them as they're one. Um, and even Obi-Wan proves that he knows Anakin Skywalker, therefore he knows Darth Vader. He knows what he can, where he's patient, where he's not, what his
Mhm.
strengths are, what his faults are. He knows. So that's a tool that they both are going to use until, A New Hope,
Mhm.
which is very interesting. But like I said, not to get off topic, I really think Anakin, Darth Vader, saw a side of him within Reva and decided to use her with that hunger, because she's very hungry. And
Mhm.
she was doing the same thing Anakin would do. He would take things personally. This mission
Yeah.
for Obi-Wan was just as personal for her as it was for Darth Vader,
Yeah.
which we see that in part 5. Where were you? You left us. Why didn't, he was your Padawan.
Yeah.
She's not
She really
wrong.
was. She's not wrong.
She's
Where was
not
he when all that
wrong.
was happening? Well, he
Yeah.
was following Yoda's advice, and he needed to go to Mustafar. But that whole conversation with Reva between the wall,
Oh,
between the two of them. Oh my
totally.
gosh. I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh my god, is she, fudging with him, or is this really happening?" At first I thought maybe she was just baiting him by saying
Mm-mm.
that. But then when she says to him, or no, is it when he said to her, "How do you know that that's Anakin?" Because he wouldn't let anybody know that.
Mm-mm. No, he doesn't even let Tarkin know.
So
Tarkin
that's
guesses.
that was my thought from the beginning, is when she first said that, when he was on that transport ship and she was trying to get him, when
Yeah,
she killed the
Anakin's
Grand Inquisitor.
alive.
I know, and so right away I'm like, how does she even know that?
Right. Well, that's just it. And like I said, I go there, she has to be someone who was around, and you're looking at her trying to age her then, like, okay, well,
Right.
how old is she? Where could she have been at this time? And that's just it, because he doesn't let anyone know. I mean, Thrawn has guessed. I mean, in books that, Vader is Anakin, and they're one of the same. Tarkin has guessed, but there's been no confirmation given by the
Right.
man in the black suit that, yeah, that's me. Usually anyone that knows
They
doesn't
don't
last
live.
very long.
No, they don't live to tell.
No, exactly. That's a secret he tends to keep. So it's interesting, but I love it because Obi-Wan, see, this is what makes me feel like my heart just pours out for Reva, is because what has kept her going is the revenge. And as Lauren's already stated in here, revenge is a hell of a drug. And it is. I mean, look at what it did for Maul. He sustained being chopped in half with spider legs for how many years, so he could seek revenge on Obi-Wan can be Kenobi. So, yeah. But what makes me sad here is that all this time she was doing what she had to do because she was hoping at some point to get the leverage, the upper hand to hunt, Anakin down. And she figured she could use Obi-Wan to do it. That was her mission, because she was mad at Obi-Wan, to me, just as much as she's mad at Anakin, right? It's almost like equal there. But Obi-Wan does to her what Anakin's been doing, Vader's been doing all these years. He baited her so he could get away, because even he says it. Vader says it. Obi-Wan was wise to use you against me.
Oh,
so
yes.
in a way, Ben did her dirty. And I feel bad for Reva. Like, my heart is going to her. I mean, she ain't dead. She's alive. I mean,
not for long.
Oh, I think she's
Vader's not gonna let her last.
If he wanted her dead, he would have made sure. He would have watched. The way I look at it, he doesn't feel she's important anymore. But she is, because he doesn't know the information now that she has.
Well, yeah, but that was sort of fell in her lap.
Yes. But, it's not good that she knows. She remembers the name, Owen.
I know. I don't know how that's
that makes me nervous.
I don't know how that's going to work.
But I do feel for her, because I do feel she's her own entity. I don't feel she's Sith. I don't feel she's Jedi. She's kind of like I said, she's kind of like a Thrawn. She's in it for herself. And I don't...
I think she still wants revenge. She's still going to
she wants revenge on Anakin. Yes, yes. How she'll get it, I don't think she's going to go for him directly. I think she's going to try and hurt him indirectly. So what that means?
How, though? Yeah.
I don't know, but she knows things now that that Darth Vader does not know.
Yeah.
And she's already sensed Leia. She told her, "You're strong." She's not dumb.
Yeah.
You know? So, Lauren, Obi had better intentions, in my opinion, but in Reva's eyes, she won't see it that way. Oh, absolutely not. No. Oh, no. She's going to take that one personal. Like I said, she does share a lot of similar traits with Anakin in that way. But here's the thing. Again, similar ground. Everything was taken from her at a young age. Same with Anakin. From the moment he began at the temple, he was basically made to feel he wasn't good enough. No, he will not be trained. Mace Windu,
Well, and you listen to how the other Inquisitors talk to her, we found you in the gutter.
We found you in the gutter, and that's where we're going to leave you, yeah.
Yeah, so they talked down to her a lot. And I think that her over-ambition was part of her plan,
Oh,
and then that, and it also seemed to bug the others that she sort of had this inside with Vader. But I think the Grand Inquisitor was playing that anyway.
Oh, I do too.
Because in the end, we found out that he wasn't really dead, and also, well, we kind of knew he couldn't be dead because he's not dead in Rebels until Rebels. So.
And then we find out that I think it was on one of the late night shows, that his species actually has more than one stomach. So she only got one stomach.
Yeah.
It's like kidneys. You have more than one,
Is
so
he
you can
more machine
survive.
than man now? He's got an extra stomach, or he's got a clone stomach or something
Exactly. Or he can just live on one. Maybe he doesn't
on
need
one.
to. It's
Yeah.
kind of like
Okay.
our human kidneys. You don't need both. I mean, it's
Okay.
helpful to have both, but you can
But you can
sustain
live
on one.
without one.
Right. So
Okay.
that's how I see it. But
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know what her, where she's going to go with this next. Like, is she going to, here's the thing, it's not unusual for someone that we see or perceive to be really cruel and bad to defect and become, fighting for a cause. It happens. I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen, but it's definitely possible. After what she suffered and what she's still suffering through PTSD, obviously, I don't think she would harm, kids in a family. I just don't see that being a thing. I'm not saying she hasn't killed people. I'm not saying that. But you see her even cringe in that village when Vader strolls down and he's hurting not the adults, but the kids. You see her get kind of, uncomfortable. She shifts because it's a trigger and
Mm.
it brings back those painful memories. But
Mm-hmm.
again, I don't know what her intentions are right now. Lauren's got some great comments. She's like, I think she will put it together that these children are force sensitive, but hasn't put it together that they are Anakins. Yep. I do wonder if she will put it all together. I like that because there's very few that know that truth. Very, 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 very few.
Right. And
I
since
think
we
Dr.
know
Afra
that,
even knows at some
yeah,
point.
I, but whatever happens between Vader and Reva, even Bail and Obi-Wan is going to be out of sight of Luke because he
Oh,
continues
yeah.
to grow up clueless. He's not going to know
But
anything.
we love him.
I know.
The less he knows, the
The
less of a threat
better.
he is. Right.
That's right.
I mean, you can't get interrogated to death if you know nothing. So,
No.
he kind of has to know nothing. He has to be that starry-eyed little golden-haired farm boy.
Little
La-da-da.
Snooki in his bed. Little Snooki comes in his bed.
No, he's
He's
so
so
cute. Um, yeah, I really feel though at this point, like, I don't know about you. Do you feel by the time we get to this last part 6 that Bale will have made a visit to Owen? And how do you feel about that?
well.
Sorry, it's a hard
He said
question.
I know. He said he wanted to make a visit, or he felt like he needed to
If
because he
he
wasn't
continued to receive silence, yes, that he would go
right.
because
So
he would need help with the boy.
that's just it. So that kind of puts a target. I don't think it's a good decision for Bale to make. Actually, I think he's panicking.
Oh yeah,
But
I would too though.
hopefully at this point he's gotten word that they got Leia out and they got away, and so he's not going to do that because Owen's already been threatened by Reva. Though he doesn't know what's behind all that, but that was and he is not friendly with Obi-Wan, so I don't think he's going to be friendly with Bail. He's going to be like, get the crap off my land.
Yeah, and I've thought about that too because I'm like, okay, where is Owen and Baru? I want to see Baru. I want to get Baru's, perspective of what's going on. I really want to know. I mean, from a mother, I want to know
Mm-hmm.
because we've got Bria's. She
Right.
knows who her daughter is like. She's all well aware of it. you know, Miss Little Stubborn Princess. But I
Yeah.
love her so much because she's right. She's always right. You better listen to me. Hello. That's who she is.
Yeah, I'd like
Um,
to see some interaction between Baru and Luke.
okay, so we got Lauren saying she could see Obi-Wan talking to Reva on Tatooine before she does anything to Luke, and together they go up against the Grand Inquisitor and Vader. Interesting.
Mm,
Then we have Neil
possible.
saying,
Yeah.
is the twist that Reva knows about the twins, but the bit of good in her, she hopes Anakin is redeemed. There's a lot to talk about here. So let's go with Lauren first. So Obi-Wan talking to Reva on Tatooine before she does anything to Luke. And together, referring obviously to Obi-Wan and Reva going up against Grand Inquisitor and or Vader. Here's my thought process on that. All right. I do see somewhere down the line, I don't know if we're going to, there's rumors, and I say rumors, and I'm taking that with a grain of salt, that there will be a second season to this, but it's all rumors. There's nothing confirmed. I don't know if we need it per se. I would not. Here's the thing. If we got it, I would be ecstatic. I'm not going to say no, because this is, for me personally, before I even start to answer these, for me personally, this series, I have rewatched each episode more than I have with anything else we have ever gotten thus far. I don't know what that means for me. I don't know if it's just because I love the characters or I love the story. I don't know what it is, but it could be just a guy that's looming behind me. I don't know.
Drink it in.
I am. My prequel mug runneth over. That's just how I'm feeling. So anyway, that being said, I do see at some point possibilities of a conversation again between Ben and Reva. I think it'll be on a different playing field. I think their emotions need to come down and level out before they can actually have a full-on conversation, my opinion. Now, I do foresee Ben confronting Vader again. I don't see so much with the Grand Inquisitor, but I do think a talkie talk. I'm not expecting a lightsaber duel. I'm not. I'm expecting a confrontation, a discussion between what's left of Anakin and Ben, because, and I say this because two things. In A New Hope, when Vader and Obi-Wan finally come face to face, Vader says to him, you know, last time we met, I was but the learner. Now I am the master, which plays off of the flashback when Obi-Wan tells him, you know, until you get rid of this need for praise, a Padawan you will still be, you know, to be victorious and to win that praise. And also in Return of the Jedi,
it ties with Luke and
Vader. When Luke turns around and says, "Come with me," Vader says, "Obi-Wan once thought as you do." That's why I'm saying it has to be a discussion point.
They do that. If Obi-Wan says that,
come with me, I'm going to break down. I know. People better check in on me because no one has. I had one person, Jay Krebs, actually from Podcast Stardust. She texted me, "Are you okay? Have you seen it yet?" She's the only one. I'm like, hello, people are not checking in to see if I'm still breathing. What is wrong with you all?
Sorry.
But it's okay.
We're all not breathing. That's just it.
And I'm turning red. I can see it as I'm talking about it. I squealed so much. Look at me turning red. I'm like really blushing. Every time we got the flashbacks of Hayden as young Anakin, the biting down, those choppers, he's got such great teeth. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But when he bites down on that lower lip, I squeal so loud. My husband says to me, "Do you need like your own room? Like, do you need a room?" I'm like, "I think I do." So bad. So bad. Sorry.
Oh man, that's okay.
But do you want to take a turn at Lauren's question? What do you think?
I think we're on the same page. I do see them talking and him trying to keep her from doing something that's going to compromise Luke, and having the Empire find out who he is and where he is.
Yeah,
he's got to stop that. So, yeah. But Luke, I don't think she's going to survive the confrontation. That's my prediction.
I would like to see her survive. I do. There's such a unique storyline there that they have never touched on. This is so new to get.
Well, yes and no. Ezra,
Yeah, but no, but to
not
survive
Ezra.
Vader, like to survive that actual initial inside the temple purge, that is
Oh,
huge.
well,
That's what I'm talking about. Like we don't. This is.
Grogu, I mean,
But did he get?
okay.
Did he get close enough to Anakin Skywalker? That's my question. She was up front and laid with dead bodies until they grew cold to
Right. So
fake her death.
he loomed over her and yeah.
Yes, I mean that's
So,
traumatizing. She saw every single one of her
yeah.
her classmates, if you want to call them that. You
A
know.
lot of people, I've heard a lot of people were upset that they actually showed, and they didn't graphically show it, but it happened, and it's sort of out of the corner of your eye, sort of showing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But they really, I guess I'm getting off topic now, but
Mm-mm.
what when it comes to Vader, they have nailed him basically when it comes to who he has been in the comic books. And
Absolutely.
he is, what was I telling you on our private DM, that he's OP, the gaming term,
And I'm like, what does that mean?
I
I'm
know,
sorry. I'm an old person. I don't know what this stuff means.
overpowered, meaning, the stuff he was doing, we saw some of it in Rogue One and we've seen it in the comic books, but he didn't need to use a lightsaber to fight with Riva. He toyed with her the whole time. And my son was
Ah.
like, "Did you see that, Mom? He was just playing with her like a bug."
Oh, did he really use the term bug?
Yes.
Did he really? Because that's straight out of the Revenge of the Sith novel.
Really?
When he's in his own head, Anakin thinking of Padme, how he could squash her like a bug.
Ooh.
That is straight from the novel. Holy crap!
Well, maybe
Yo,
that's what he's thinking.
go
Go,
Michael.
Michael.
Yeah, love that. Tell him that. Yeah, that's incredible. Yeah. Wow. It's just there's a lot to take in. So I want to go to Neil's here with the twist that
Okay.
Riva knows about the twins. Okay. Well, maybe she doesn't know who they are per se, but she heard she heard children. She obviously knows they're force
Right.
sensitive just by that message, right? And I'm sure she's already putting two and two together. She felt Leia's presence. She knows Leia's strong. She was able to not break her through the mind probe of her own
Right.
force mind probe, which speaks volumes.
Mm-hmm.
But now he's asking, but the bit of good in her. And I do believe there, here's the thing. We've learned this throughout Star Wars books, comics, in the narratives of movies, and in any type of, animation series, live action. There's a balance. There's good and bad. There's light and dark in all of us. It's our choices that reflect whether we're going to be light or whether we're going to be dark. That being said, the bit of good in her, she hopes that Anakin is redeemed. That's something I want to talk about because she does probe Ben back with, but do you want Anakin dead, Obi-Wan Kenobi? And he couldn't answer that because deep
No,
down, he
because he
doesn't.
didn't, and he couldn't kill
He couldn't
him
do
when
it.
he had the chance.
Right.
He
And
thought maybe he
would
could.
he even now?
No, I don't. I don't know because he's already struggling with the flashbacks.
Big
That.
time.
Hmm.
So, what do you think about that? Do you think because he's asking, she hopes Anakin is redeemed. Do you think she really hopes Anakin is redeemed?
No, Riva wants him dead. She wants revenge for taking everything from her. That's what's motivate to me. That's what's motivated her from the beginning to maintain this ruse, to do the things she's had to do to be an inquisitor and maintain the relationship with Vader that she has, and to also to be sort of not liked by the other inquisitors because she's over the top with her behavior, her Sithy behavior. Um, no, I don't think that's what she wants at all. That's what Obi-Wan wants, but that's not what Riva wants.
It's weird because, it's possible to not know you want something
Mm.
because your emotions are so raw
Mhm.
and so strong. And that's where, again, I say Riva and Vader have a lot of similarities, because what's kept him going is the same thing that's kept her going, that revenge. He wants Kenobi so bad he can taste it, because he cannot take accountability for his own actions of what led him down this path. He is upset that Obi-Wan showed up when he did on Mustafar and took everything away from him, which is Padme. Of course, he's done that to himself. But I think this also stems further back when it comes to Vader, specifically Anakin and Obi-Wan. This goes way back. We learn in, and this is not spoiler territory anymore to me because this book came out over a month ago, Brotherhood by Mike Chen. This happens right when the Clone Wars starts, and right when Anakin becomes a knight. It is stated in that book several times without just coming right out and saying it. Anakin almost resents Obi-Wan. Even though he's his best friend and his brother and his mentor, he's never come right out and asked Anakin, hey, dude, you okay? What's going on? It goes back to his first nights as his Padawan in the temple, crying at night, and Obi-Wan never checked in on him. This is a resentment. This goes all the way back. That's why when I saw that scene in part 3 of Vader throwing Obi-Wan into the fire, and he says, now you will suffer. I think this is personal. He wants him to feel what he's felt for years.
Right.
But he never listened to him. Never asked him if he was okay. That's
I didn't
huge.
know that, but I knew he wanted him to suffer, because Michael and I were talking too. He's like, why didn't he just kill him then? And I'm like, I think he wants him to feel his pain.
What he did. Yeah, feel his pain. Absolutely. And I think, like I said, there's a lot of resentment. And I think Reva has it too. And it's not just for Vader. It goes back to Ben, Obi-Wan. And I think it even goes back to the other Jedi Masters who didn't rescue them. She feels, like she was nothing. She was thrown in the gutter in a sense because they didn't come for her.
Trying to save her.
Right. But I think as a kid, and you grow up with that, I mean, again, perceptions.
You're gonna see it. Yeah, it's all in your eyes, in your head, and how.
And that's what matters at the time, right?
Exactly, and then it just festers over your life.
There you go. Yeah, so there we did our best to answer those. But Lauren says Andrea brought up on the podcast that in Rebels, when Vader was talking to the Emperor, that the Emperor mentioned something about Obi-Wan not surviving, which could mean this confrontation, possibly. This is interesting. I like it, Lauren. Let me know if I'm wrong on this.
Vader was talking to the Emperor, and the Emperor.
Yes, I remember this. This is on. I believe the Emperor at the time is on. No, Lothal. Yes, when they're talking about this. But now here's my question, if I can remember this correctly. This is interesting because they mention Obi-Wan not surviving. So could Obi-Wan, Ben, when this confrontation happens, play dead using what? Using Reva's story to work against his old Padawan, so he believes he's dead, kind of like Ahsoka does. Think about it. In season 7, that last episode, she leaves her sabers, all of it, so it looks like they died to the death fighting with the clones.
Right.
So this is interesting because, again, this is something out of a novel, out of Mike Chen's Brotherhood, that Anakin stresses to a group of younglings before they're even chosen as Padawans, how one of the biggest lessons they can learn is through people they meet throughout their life. All those different lives that they meet, you can learn something from them, even if it's just a quick crossing through your path. Right. But you can take something from their personality or from their talents and use that. So that's just it. Obi-Wan could possibly use the story from Reva to work against Darth Vader, where Darth Vader walks away thinking Obi-Wan is now dead.
Yeah.
So interesting.
And
then he would stop looking for him. Very good, Lauren. Yep. And then it would end the search, which would be the whole surprise on the Death Star when he walks by the Millennium Falcon. He goes, I sense a presence I haven't felt since. and it just
Yep.
cuts off and he walks
And
away.
then there you go.
I like it.
Since that last confrontation, which we have all speculated happened at some point because of those very words. I mean,
So much emotion, which is
yeah.
when this whole thing was first announced, that's the one thing I always stressed, that I wanted a drama. I wanted to see this broken Obi-Wan Kenobi dealing with all these emotions of everything that just happened, all that he learned. Now he needs to unlearn all that he's learned because it was wrong, and
and then he had to relearn it. He had to come
and relearn it.
back.
Yes, and
some of that was really interesting. How he could barely use the Force to move. What is somebody could barely use the Force to move a stapler, but he got it all back pretty quickly. But I think the heat of the moment, and as his muscle memory came back, because he got better at fighting with his lightsaber. At first, he was just using his fists and it wasn't feeling very good.
Right?
Whatever. He's like, ow.
Oh, he's like, ow. Yeah, no, I'm thinking I would have been doing all the same things. I would have been crawling, like, I can't even get up. What are you talking about, my hip?
I don't think that you haven't done that in a while, Obi-Wan. It's going to take a minute.
He's got all that dust from the sand in his joints, Sorry.
But wasn't he awful good with an uncivilized blaster?
Oh, he was. And I'm glad that you're going here, because I want to segue into this point that you're talking here, because this is when he's trying when he goes in to rescue Leia.
Yeah.
Holy crap. I'm going to say it. I love this kid. Vivian is her name. She is a phenomenal actress, and she really channeled Leia Organa.
Fisher.
And I'm just going to say it. She reminded me so much of Padme, too, at this point. Because when that door opened, she wasn't just sitting there. She was ready to attack whoever was coming in. She was like, ran right for him. And I was
like, ow.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
Stop. I'm the good guy.
Right? And she's like, yeah, okay. And here's the thing. Right from the opening of getting this girl, okay, we see her getting dressed, all prettied up, and then as Queen Bria comes in and notices the hand is not quite right, the skin tone, the flesh is not quite right, unveils her, and she's like, oh, I'm sorry, Your Highness, but she thought you would find this, entertaining or humorous or funny. Mom didn't find it funny, but right there, it's like, she is her mother's daughter, the decoy, so she can go do what she wants and run off. And I love the fact that she, as much as she's like her mother here, Padme ran to the water. Leia runs to the earth. She runs to the forest.
The trees, to the forest.
Yes.
And she likes to identify the ships. I loved that about her.
She's so beyond her years. Cool. I know.
So she is a lot like Luke in that she's daydreaming of going into space and wondering where these ships are going and what they're doing, and and pirates and all that.
And then we get to see her with little Lola, her own droid, which really ties in that whole never underestimate a droid line from The Rise of Skywalker, which I was in tears just watching her and just, she's such a joy, She's, well, I guess I don't need manners then when I'm talking to you. I absolutely just adore the character. I think they nailed it. I would not in the least bit be disappointed if they decided to do a live action series side by side of, half what Leia's up to at this point and half what young Luke is up to at this point. I think that would be phenomenal. Something we've all kind of wondered,
Of course.
So that would be cool. I'd be fine with that. I'm enjoying basically the writers telling us about Padme without saying Padme throughout most of it, and it made me cry when Obi-Wan went into his memory and opened up in front of stormtroopers and all about Padme, how he knew her mother and that you remind me of her. And even Leia was not, like, she knew that he was completely serious. He wasn't playing at that point. And that meant something to her. And I think right there really forged a bond because he knows her
Well,
mother.
because she can read him too.
Yep.
She's very good at reading people, and she already kind of called him out on your lying to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think that they really bonded
Yeah.
in that
And
whole experience.
I love
And
it.
I loved all of it, and especially when he finally had to use the force to save her from, splatting on in the alley.
But how many of us were like, I mean, I was literally laughing so hard when she goes, "Can you make me float? I want to float."
I
I
know. That's not how the force works. No.
But my mind went
Makes things
directly to
smooth.
Ray Carson's
Yes.
The Rise of Skywalker novel when they really dive into the training in between Luke and Leia. And Leia's in full meditation mode. And Luke's just watching agape, like in awe, because her eyes are closed. She's just in meditation mode. And she's floating, head down, feet up. And she finally opens up her eyes and sees Luke staring at her like that. And she, of course, loses her concentration and falls. And she says to him, "Sorry, I'll do better next time." And he looks at her like, "What are you talking about? You already are better. Like, you're better than me. You're better." Like,
Yeah.
she just was naturally attuned to the force. Again, that ability to read people, yes, I think that's an innate ability of her own, plus that it also stems back to Padme. Padme was able to do that very well. She could read the room. She was not, by any means, she was a very observant young child. I mean, come on, just think about this. 4 years older than what Leia is right now in the series, her mother was ruling a planet. She's only 4 years younger than her at this point. So it's one of those things, but what is really 4 years? Think about it. So again, it just goes to show you what in the very first, I think it's the very first episode or second one, when Ben says to Owen, Luke needs to know there's more than just what's right here. Because that's the only way he's going to grow with the Force. He needs to know there's more of a galaxy, not just your moisture farm. Because look how much more advanced Leia is.
He tried to give him the toy ship, and
Yes.
Owen was
Which we
like,
know
doesn't want
eventually
him to.
he does get.
He does
Because
get, yes. We
it's
see him
in
play
A
with
New
it.
Hope. So it's just how important it is for these two. And it's not just one versus the other. It's together. I mean, and I think even Ben is starting to really see it because he was so completely focused on just Luke, Luke, Luke. But having that time now with Leia and developing that and seeing a good friend of his within her, who he's lost so long ago. And he's like, holy cow, what these two can be. Because think about it. Leia and Luke, first of all, are the best parts of Anakin. The best parts. And then they are all of Padme as well. And it's like getting them back in your, in a way.
Yeah.
It's like having them back. Because there's such a necessity to the galaxy as a whole and for its healing process. And because there's so much suffering, like right now, there's so much death, and it's just awful, which leads me to Tala. I love her. I'm sad. She's played by Indira Varma. And I loved her from the moment. Yeah. Oh my God. We got to see a character playing both sides purposefully so she could be helpful. It didn't start off that way, but that's where she ended up. And her story is just so powerful, and at the end, so tragic and sad. But that's just it. The dream, that cause still exists, even though she's not with us anymore. To me, she played such a key part in who Leia will become down the road.
Yeah.
So any thoughts on Tala that you want to add? I love her. I'm sorry. I want to see more, but
I just liked that, she kept such a cool head in the face of being at the Inquisitor's castle, or I can't remember what they call that.
Inquisitorius? Isn't that what it is?
Inquisitorium, whatever.
Inquisitorium, yeah. It's their own temple.
I know. and managed to worm her way in there using using rank against that one guy.
He was just a
And it
security guy.
but it goes to show you, that the Imperials are always, uh, trying to get each other. That's something.
Oh yeah.
There's always some sort of internal battles going on. You saw it with Krennic and Tarkin, and
Yep.
you know, someone's got a bigger rank than you always.
Well, and that's just it. And that's how it is in the Empire. You always want to move up the rank. See, me, I would
Yeah,
kind of just want to find a good plateau and stay there because the higher up you go, the closer you are to,
right,
sorry, I kind of like don't
right.
want that choked.
But
Sorry.
it was great that she used to be an Imperial officer, and then you know she chose to not choose that side anymore. Choose to chose anyway. She saw what they were doing was not right,
That they lied.
and
That's what yeah, they lied.
right, and she didn't want to be a part of that anymore. So just like Finn, and
Hmm.
I think a lot of other people. I think there's more of her than we know at this point. More types of her.
Oh, yeah.
I think we've seen them in books and even in the movies. Defectors from the Empire
Hmm.
who are um, who are now helping.
Yeah, Wedge is one of them.
Hmm.
Yep, because Sabine got him out. So, yeah, so yeah, it's just, like I said, it's interesting to see it, that close and as almost like a lead type character, play out and, talking with Ben and sharing her story about, the four force sensitive families. I just want to throw that out there.
Hmm.
16 people, she said, and 6 were children. Um, there you go. Force sensitive families. I'm just going to throw it out there. This was the whole fear of the Jedi Order, which was why, as adults, Jedi couldn't get married and have attachments and reproduce because they were afraid
Hmm.
of like deities and things like that, deities,
Hmm.
if I'm saying that right or wrong. But anyway, so now we see that, they've escaped. Some have fallen in love and now they've acted on it because they're not Jedi anymore. And they've had children, so how many more are in hiding is my question, especially by the sequel time. Like, think about that. How many more could be out there?
Well, we only
There could be a
seen
lot.
a couple of examples, so I think there's a lot. I mean, obviously, because because Luke started a school, so there were other students in that school. I think that Vader wouldn't have started the Inquisitors if he didn't want to make sure or try to hunt them all down. I don't know.
It's interesting, though, because there's got to be so many more out there. Just knowing from what she said, I thought that was an interesting line because I know, especially in Star Wars now, there's no such thing as a throwaway line because they'll take those lines and create stories from
Oh, I
them.
know.
So that's why it's like made me go, ooh, So that's interesting.
But
I would like to
talent,
see them.
but then what Luke says in The Mandalorian, talent without training. So, or is it talent without training? Or does
Yes,
he say,
basically,
yes?
he says that if you don't use it, you lose it, type of thing. Yes,
Or if you don't, train to use it, then you really don't know how to. You
right.
have, you know, so I think there's probably lots of people out there that feel they have some sort of strange ability, but, and we even read books like The Force Collector, or,
Yes.
you know, they had an ability, but they really didn't understand it.
Yep. And here's the thing too, having an ability like you brought up, Force Collector, great book by the way. He was force sensitive, but it wasn't as strong as it should be to become a Jedi, but he still had it. Where he had like what is it, telekinesis, where he could touch an object and see its and see its history. But
Mm-hmm.
he wasn't, it was actually stated in there that he had the Force, but it wasn't as strong with him as it would need to be if he were to train for a Jedi.
Right.
It was stated in there. So it's interesting. So there's different levels of Force sensitivity because
Right.
it is stated every living being has the Force. You're all connected to it to some extent. So it's interesting. Haja, speaking of Jedi,
Oh my God, it's funny.
can I just say he is such a joy. What's his? Is it pronounced Kumail? Kumail? Kumail is his first name. The actor that plays Haja. Absolutely a joy. The sarcasm and, like you were saying off air, how this presents many opportunities. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a business opportunity.
It's a business opportunity. I just,
Shows up.
oh my
Oh my
gosh,
God.
it cracks me up. The whole raising up the eyebrow like he's trying to be all, I'm sorry, it's just, he brings me, it just makes me laugh. What a joy to watch. And
Yeah.
interesting because, like, you would, like, think about it, like, this is pretty cool because how many people would try and fake to be a
A
Jedi? I mean,
Jedi.
you know, yeah,
But at the
I
same
can
time,
see
his heart's in the right place
it
because he
is
really was trying to help those people. He was just trying to make a little money at the same time.
right,
So,
right.
you know, Obi-Wan couldn't fault him for that.
Right. No, true. Um, but he did call him a rat. You are a rat.
Yeah,
And
a little
yeah, he
bit of,
did.
yeah,
I do
for stealing
love
their
that
money.
though, because his sarcasm and his um, the connection he has with, like, Roken and that little banter that they have off one another. It's hilarious, but even more so when it's him and Leia. Um, did you hear what he said? Stop talking. She's like so annoyed with him. Like, I know what I'm doing, you know? And the
I
whole,
know.
this isn't playtime, princess. And, Ben basically saying, you trust me, well, I trust her, get her the ladder. Um, you know, yeah, and then we wonder why she's so spunky, because she's had it all along. And it just, again, she's well beyond her years, in a lot of ways. She fits right in, even at the age of 10. She can hold her own with the adults, and it's crazy, how emotionally in check she is. Um,
Yeah. But
and it,
she's still a girly princess too, because when Obi-Wan was trying to get her a disguise, she wanted the sparkly outfit.
oh yeah, oh
And he's
yeah.
like, "No, no, you can't have that." And then she just goes and gets the gloves. Oh, and the gloves. Like you can't stop her
No,
putting them
and
on and
and I love that because it makes me wonder now that you say that how she wanted the little glitzy bling bling outfit, if that's a play off of Carrie Fisher saying that she wore the same outfit throughout the whole thing, and here comes here comes Natalie Portman who got just an
all the
ensemble, all the
on
things,
all the
like she,
things, yeah.
right, and she was kind of like, I didn't get that. So it makes you wonder if that was like a play off of a Carrie Fisher line, because I thought that was great. I love how they did give her finally just a green poncho because it really
Mhm.
went back to Endor.
Yeah.
And I loved it. And then especially with the braids in the hair, it was perfect. But yeah, I think the casting has been awesome. Even with Roken, who was played by O'Shea Jackson Jr. Oh my gosh. Like,
Mhm.
his story is interesting too because he lost his wife in this cause, through this fight. She was a former Jedi. He knew who she was. It didn't stop them. So interesting. It makes you wonder too how that all came about. Did they meet
Right.
there through the path, or did they? Again, it's just one of those things, or was there something going on prior to? I mean, is Anakin the only one to have a secret love affair that no one knows anything about?
I can't see that he is. I mean,
Exactly.
there were a lot of Jedi, so and
Yep.
Obi-Wan was one of them. So there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah,
Glass
because
you live in a glass house, you shouldn't throw stones.
absolutely.
So,
Yeah, but all in all, I am absolutely loving this. 100%. yeah, like I said, I know there's rumors flying that supposedly there will be a season 2 of this. If they
Ooh.
do, great, great. I'll gladly watch it. If there isn't, I understand. There's also another rumor out there about how long the final episode is going to be.
Oh, what's that?
I'm hearing somewhere about an hour.
Weren't the shows already an hour or not?
They're about 35 minutes before they hit credits.
Okay.
It's almost double.
So the final episode is going to be an hour long. Well,
Well,
that'll be
that's
good.
rumor. I haven't heard
Oh,
confirmation. I heard rumor.
right. I hope so, because I don't know. Can we have just a little bit of Luke? Just a little
Oh, I
bit
think we're
more?
going to get Luke in this final. Yeah, I think we have to get back to Tatooine, obviously.
Well,
Um,
yeah.
there's too much at stake. I mean, he's been gone a long time. But let's be honest, the action has moved away from Tatooine, for this time being. It's been on other worlds. It's kind of left Luke alone.
I don't think the confrontation isn't there. The concept art. There's still another lightsaber confrontation between Obi-Wan and Vader, and there's that poster where the lightsaber he's holding is not his, but it's
Mm-hmm.
Anakin's.
Mm-hmm. Well, what if he uses that against him? That would be interesting.
Yeah. I don't know if that's a tell or if it's just how they did the poster.
Right.
But or because wasn't the confrontation in the concept art in like a city setting?
That it doesn't necessarily mean that's where it's going to be. Concept art is concept art.
Yeah.
All of it
Yeah.
may not come to fruition. It's just an idea of what they see, depending on what they're telling in the story.
Speaking
But
of settings though,
yes.
the Inquisitor's fortress.
Oh, I know where you're
Um
going.
the first of all, I had already seen it in Jedi Fallen Order game.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew right away that that's how Obi-Wan had to get in there, is he's going to have to swim and go in that way.
It
But what he finds there,
That was
oh,
traumatizing to watch, by the way.
no kidding.
I was very
What
disturbed.
is he? Are they in stasis or are they just preserved? What's going
I
on
think
there?
I think they're preserved. I think it's very similar to what we saw briefly in Rebels when we get Luminera. And
That's
then
right.
when they do something to her casket or tomb or whatever she's in, then it does this freeze over, and then all of a sudden she is no longer the way she looks. She's all mummified. So
Mm,
I'm wondering if it's a similar thing, and I'm wondering if it's because we know Palpatine's messing around with the M count. He's messing around with midichlorians. He's trying
right.
to create a vessel to put his essence, to have a place to put it, or to replicate, make a clone, because we know he has what
Hmm.
he considers his son, a failed clone, which we know that that's not a spoiler because Rey's father is Sheev's clone. So that said, I'm wondering if they're there so they can take samples.
Yeah.
And
Or
that's
are
sad
they
to think
just
about, but
trophies because they have their lightsabers
yep. They
around the
also
room
have
as
the little
trophies.
helmets too from the younglings.
The
And there was a
youngling, that
youngling in
one,
there too.
there was a youngling on there. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was. There's only one Jedi I recognized that we saw in the Clone Wars
Yes, I can't think of the
from the
name.
library.
Mm-hmm.
That older, he was really old,
Mm-hmm.
and Jocasta Nu was in that episode too,
Mm-hmm.
by the way. But
Love her.
I can't think of her name. Maybe Lauren and Neil know what that
Starts with
guy's
an S.
Jedi's name
Yeah, it
was.
starts with an S, and I can't think of it now. But yeah, and it's funny because I recognize him only by just recognition of the face, but not name. Again, they've been
Right.
very good at keeping things more obscure and vague. Like they did do the name drop of Quinlan Voss, and boy, would I love to see him in live action. Because again, when you talk about
I
balance, I mean, between
know.
light and dark, he is one of those Jedi that bounced around quite a bit between light and dark. So
Yeah.
it would be interesting to see, and with the whole path, I love that they call it the path. It's, and how they say that the light may have faded but not forgotten.
Right.
To me, it really makes me think of Padme Amidala, because if you do the translation of the full Buddhist name, basically it's the path to eternal light is what her name stands for. So the path, the light may have faded, but it's not forgotten. She's the one that says, there's still hope, there's still good in him to Obi-Wan. So she believes in that, and here's the thing, in a way, she's still there in her own way, through Luke and Leia. So it's just, there's so much goodness in this series that I wasn't expecting any of this. First of all, the whole Leia plotline thing wasn't even thinking that.
No, when you saw the shot Alderaan, you're like, oh, they're going there.
Right.
We're gonna see Leia.
Just blew my mind. Yeah. And then we get, flashbacks of Coruscant. We even get to see, young Anakin waiting for his master, but as he is literally daydreaming of Padme, because that's what he's staring at, is her apartment
building
complex.
Yep.
He's looking right at it, because he'd much rather be dreaming of Padme.
Yeah, that whole training session was really, really, really good.
Hey, they still got their moves. Did you see that? Holy
that was
crap.
Something else. That was something else. So, that was nice to see those two spar again.
Oh my God. They're phenomenal. They really are. But going back to what you said, I'm dovetailing back to the poster, because you're talking about the sparring, it made me think of it. You said that he's holding what looks like Anakin's lightsaber. In that sparring, he does take the saber from him.
Yeah, he does.
Makes you wonder if that's why the poster is like that. Is he going to,
do that again?
Right. I'm just curious. I mean, it would be a nice little, tie-in,
Yes, but in Vader flashbacking to that training session with Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan saying sometimes you don't need a lightsaber, you just need the Force. Which is why he did what he did to Reva without his lightsaber.
Oh, yeah. Because, he is who he is.
Because he's like, I can do it too. I can do it better. I'm not the Jedi I should be.
That's just it. Going back to that scene, though, between Darth Vader and Reva, this is where I agree with Hayden, where they are one and the same. They're not two separate people. It's the same person. Because the whole pulling the saber apart and turning it off and giving it to her to give her a fair chance, even though it's not fair, because he is who he is. But the fact that he did that, he didn't have to. He could just ran her through.
No.
That is a complete Anakin Skywalker move, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
So I was very intrigued by that. Because I'm thinking, why go through all that? You're the one who was just saying prior to, you want to skip all the formalities and all that kind of jazz. Like, what is this? Like, what are you really saying here? But I just thought it was interesting that he, in his own way, was giving her a fair shake, so to speak. But like I said, knowing who he is, it's really not fair, is it?
No, because she, I think he thought he killed her, though.
I think in his mind, yeah. I think he's doing he's leaving her for dead. But again, he hasn't learned anything, because Obi-Wan did the same thing to him and he didn't die.
Exactly.
You should have made sure.
You really should make sure. If that's what your plan was, and he seems to not be following through.
Right. Or is he leaving her like that because he knows at some point
could she lead
he can
him
follow
to
her? Can she lead him to something?
To Obi-Wan again, because maybe he's thinking she's gonna this whole show has been about Reva.
Oh yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Good Lord. but
it's intriguing.
she's gonna what am I trying to say? She's gonna lead Vader to Obi-Wan again, knowing that she now has a connection.
Yep.
Ah,
It's very interesting because, like I said, I really do believe right now, at this point of where we are, I'm not saying this is where it's going to end up. She's her own. She's on her own
yeah.
side. She has no specific side. She's in it for Reva and Reva only. And like you said, what's driving her is the revenge cycle. I'm not saying she's going to full blown out try and kill Vader again, because let's face it, did it really work for her? It really ended bad for her. So I think she's going to try and hurt him in other ways. And maybe that means going above him. Maybe that means going higher up. Maybe that means going to Palpatine. I don't know. It's happened in the EU. Mara Jade worked really for Palpatine, not so much for Vader. Yeah, I mean, that didn't end well either because she ended up marrying Luke. But anyway, that was in the EU. I'm just saying, who knows? I mean, Daddy went for older women, so why can't Luke? I'm just teasing. Tara Sanoob, thank you, Neil. That was your Jedi Master encased in that tomb.
Oh, the old Jedi. Okay.
The old Jedi, yes.
Thank you, Neil.
Thank you. But so I'm
okay. There
really
was
curious.
Someone that thought they saw Quinlan Voss in that tomb as well.
It was a man that was bigger, muscular, with a lot of long hair, but it didn't have the yellow markings that he has.
Okay, so it probably wasn't.
I don't know if they're tattoos, his markings specifically, or if they're painted on, or what.
I don't know.
They're his own thing. So
right. Okay. Well, it would be cool. Oh, excuse me. I don't mean to yawn.
Okay. All right.
Why am I yawning? I'm not tired.
It's Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan.
Sorry.
We have been on for an hour and 11 minutes. Holy cow.
Oh, we've talked longer.
Crazy. I know, we have.
It's been a while, though, and there's a lot to talk about.
I know.
So it's okay if we go over.
The whole thing. The whole thing.
The whole thing. The whole gambit.
And then the rest of it is next week, and I don't know what to expect. That's just it, because they already plot twisted it so hugely on the last episode.
I know.
And and I'm so happy for that, because that needed to happen. It really did.
I don't disagree. And I'm happy.
Okay, but here's something that just flashed into my head. When the beginning of the Rebels brought the snow speeders.
Oh, yes.
To try to, at the end of the day, Obi-Wan and them couldn't get away. They couldn't get to the transport. And I was like, okay, it's over. How's this going to end? Because everything that was against them. And then those two show up. Sadly, one doesn't make it.
Yes.
But, it was Obi-Wan's idea to use those. So it was Obi-Wan who got the rebellion to be using those ships.
Interesting. So that's one for Ben.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, and here's the thing. I mean, like you just mentioned with the ships, I mean, we also know now the real reason behind Leia naming her son Ben.
Exactly.
It has nothing to do with introducing her to Han. It's this. This is why.
Yes. And
wow.
I think that's wonderful. I think it's wonderful.
I do too. I mean, I'm just like I said, there's so much to love about this, and I really do. I guess I just don't understand, and I feel bad for those that are not enjoying it as much as I am, and I wish they could just open their eyes a little bit to just allowing the fun to come in. Because sometimes you just, like you said, you don't know what to expect in part 6. I think that's the beauty of it, because we don't know where they're going to go with it. And sometimes it's better not to have expectations and just let the story play out.
And yeah, so the way the last episode happened was really great, and made the whole show was so exciting at that point. lots of the plot twists and things. And so I think the final episode is going to blow us away. I
Yeah,
really do. And I think, I would love to see some cameos, maybe not cameos, but Easter egg characters, maybe
I would too. I don't even know who to
something.
think about, like, at this point. I mean, because like I said, in the beginning, before we knew anything, I was hoping for some sort of Sabe cameo, but now with what we have, it wouldn't make much sense to me to
Not
have it.
yet. Yeah,
No.
yeah,
But but where they're going is a complete different direction than where I thought they were going to go, and I'm happy about it. I mean, this is like, holy cow. What a story. There's so many different, again, as Claudia Gray uses, there's so many different snowflakes here where they can make
oh,
new stories
exactly.
out of this, right? Out of certain
Yeah.
things, out of these characters too. Like, you could tell so many different stories, which is the beauty of this, and I just got to say, all three, because I think there's three actors that are portraying Vader, are doing
Yes.
one hell of a job. The mannerisms are down
Oh,
pat.
yeah.
I mean, the walk is down pat. Um, I love the fact that he almost struts, and it's quick, because it's exactly how we see Anakin on Mustafar. It's exactly how we see Anakin purge the temple. That is still very heavy centric. You
Mhm.
see, it's him, even though we all know it's him. Like, it's him under that suit.
Right.
It's so good, and the fact that he grounded a ship, which we've only seen in Force Unleashed,
I know.
happen. And you can actually, if you listen closely, you can hear his breathing system struggle with that. You can
I
hear it.
know.
He's
It
struggling.
that was, yeah, OP Vader. Oh my gosh.
He was
Plus
beautiful, just
plus they
beautiful.
used the same technology that they did in Mandalorian to create dialogue for Luke, to
Hmm.
so that Luke would have a younger sounding voice. So, um oh, I'm just blanking.
For Vader, are you talking the
Yeah,
voice?
the voice of Vader is James Earl Jones. Sorry.
That's
That's bad.
okay.
He didn't record any dialogue. They just used the same technology where it it picks it's like an AI that picks words and puts them together from recorded voices of that era. So anything that, James Earl Jones recorded for Vader, in 1977 through, the Revenge of the Sith, not Revenge of the Sith, Return of the Jedi, was used for his dialogue.
If I'm not mistaken, too, and I'm not sure if they pulled from this at all, I do recall a conversation when the season 2 finale came out for Rebels, of Dave Filoni saying that when you get James Earl Jones in the studio, you record extra lines. So I know there's
Mhm.
extra lines that were recorded from then,
Mhm.
and they did use the technology when the mask broke, where they meshed Matt Lanter's and
Oh,
James Earl Jones' voice. And
yeah.
I know they've said that they did that even with this, that they used some of
Some
Hayden's
of that
voice.
recording
Yes,
too.
but they used
Okay.
some of Hayden's voice and meshed it with James Earl Jones, and like some of it. And you can see it because just the way it's delivered.
Mhm.
As much as it's Vader, you also can tell that the way it's being said is almost the way Anakin would say stuff.
Anakin would say it. Yeah. No, I'm
So,
really loving that.
yeah, I
It's
mean, so hats off to these people for being able to pull this character through. And like I said, I mean, it's just been,
well, this is scary Vader.
it's a scary Vader,
This is
yes.
the scary Vader. This is the scary Vader in Rogue One, and it's more scary now. So,
Yeah, I mean, there's
you
nothing he won't do, and
mm-mm.
that's terrifying. I mean, because you get to see throughout the prequel movies how strong he is with the Force, and now he's older, he's using the dark side, and he's terrifying. I mean, he wanted to be the best of the best. He never lied about that. I mean, it
Mhm.
was said in the prequels that he wanted to be the best Jedi. He even told his mom that, I'm going to, come back and free you, Mom. Because in his mind, he wanted to be the strongest he could be to
Right.
do that. And he unfortunately wasn't able to deliver on that
Oh,
promise.
that that brings up a conversation I was having with my son, um, where we were talking about why didn't why didn't they just oh, I know why they couldn't free Shmi now. Never mind. She had the chip.
But did she? You got to
Mm,
read Queen's Hope.
okay.
Beru had some help in that.
Okay.
There's a whole storyline there that so many folks are missing about the chip and about Sabe and how that works with Beru. And yeah, no, yeah. Once Shmi was free and was no longer a slave and married Lars, she was
Well,
free.
right, but what my son was wishing is that he says they were Jedi, Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan. Why couldn't they get the mother too?
Yeah.
But then I was telling him, well, they were being Jedi and their dogma, and mom can't go.
Yep.
So
Which is horrible.
I know.
And but here's the thing though. You have to put into perspective, Qui-Gon died.
Hmm.
So any
Right,
chances and hope for that to be overturned died with him. Obi-Wan wasn't gonna, he never met Shmi. He wasn't gonna think that far into it. He was told to train the boy. That was his mission, because that's what his master
right,
left him with. I think
right.
had Qui-Gon lived, a lot of what happened could have been changed for the
Better.
better.
Oh,
Um,
speaking of Qui-Gon,
yes.
do you think we'll get to finally see some interaction between him and Obi-Wan in the last episode?
I'm very hopeful that when all
Yeah.
is done and this series ends, will actually end on a note of hearing his voice and Obi-Wan's eyes just pop open. And I think that's how it'll end. I'm really
I do
hopeful
too.
with that. I
I
mean,
do too.
because here's the thing. We also learn from Queen's Hope and Brotherhood that, Obi-Wan's been hoping to hear from Qui-Gon even at
Yeah,
those points. Never has, but there is someone who's
right.
been able to hear him. And he never tells Obi-Wan that he can hear him.
Ooh.
So, and it's Anakin.
Oh no.
But he doesn't believe that he thinks he's conjuring it up, but he is hearing him.
Uh,
Even back with the Tusken Raiders, he thinks he's
is this
conjuring it
from
up.
is this from a
But
book?
yeah, it's from both books. It's in Queen's Hope and it's in
I
Brotherhood.
forget. I forget.
Yep.
Okay, so and has the Deborah Chow read these books?
I I don't know. I mean, Queen's Hope came out in enough time where she could have. Brotherhood, depending on when Mike Chen finished his final edit before it went to
Mm,
print, there's that
okay.
possibility. But here's my thing. I do believe Deborah Chow and Joby Harold, because he's the main writer of
The
this
writer.
series,
Okay. Okay.
and then it goes through her because she's the director.
Right.
If I'm doing that correctly, he has done extensive research. Yes, I mean he went through books, he went through animation, he's went through the movies to make sure they don't hiccup. Because again, Quinlan Voss, you're not going to get that from any of the movies. The name
Mm,
even, you're going to get it through the Clone Wars animation series. You're not
right.
going to get it through the actual films.
Right.
So there's a lot, even
Yeah.
just that sparring between Anakin and Obi-Wan that had to have happened right after their mission to Ancion, which is before episode 2, because he still has both hands. So it's
Yeah.
pre-wedding, it's pre-seeing Padme
Yeah.
again, it's all that.
Yeah.
So, and yes, Neil, I agree. After 40 plus years, Star Wars is still bringing joy in added layers. Absolutely.
Many, many layers that we can
Yes.
podcast about till I'm already old and gray, but
I was going to say, till, yeah,
till
we're already
we're
there.
withered mummies. I don't know. What are we gonna do?
I, I don't know. But I am very, very happy. I know there's people out there calling for, now after having this, like a Darth Vader series, and I'm like, but haven't we already had that? Like, as much as I love my guy behind me, there's 6 films, I mean 9 if you think about it, that are dedicated to
Yeah.
his legacy. to his origins. Do we really need more?
No, we need more Luke Skywalker. I'm
I
telling
knew
you.
she was going to go there.
Why is my guy not have more?
Oh, it's funny.
More
I
Luke.
I will still say this. The one series now that I want more than anything is Luke training Leia. I want that.
Yeah, I want to see that. I
I
want
want
to
that.
see. But I think it'd be fun to see some. Yeah, I mean, we got to see a little bit of Leia's upbringing.
And it's healthy.
I'm just
Except for
curious
being kidnapped. But
to see Luke's upbringing. We just saw a little bit of, always somewhere else, never where your mind on what you were doing. And it's true. We know he was, Owen's trying to get him to do chores, and he just wants
he's
to
off
pretend
wanting to
he's pod
podcast.
racing. Yeah.
But come on, I want to be like that Skywalker guy who won the Boon to Eve, Dad.
Yeah.
Come on. That's who I want to be. Can you blame him? No.
Well, no.
I mean, he's on Tatooine. That's probably the only cool thing to look up to. I mean, think about it.
Well, I mean, we could have a show about, targeting womp rats in his T16.
T16. I love it.
I mean, I don't know.
And those critters seem pretty scary after what I've seen them do to Pelly. I don't know about that. Wouldn't that be cool if we got to see a younger version of her come walking around?
Oh, that'd be cool. Yes, because she's been there all her life.
Yeah. She's a local gal, remember?
Exactly. Oh,
hey,
man.
Maybe Reva will take herself to Tatooine and go stop at the mod parlor. Get all fixed up. And then pay a visit to Owen.
You
Farmer
think that's
Owen.
Around then? That seems like the mod parlors seem to be an after the Empire
I don't know. Maybe, but maybe there's something. Maybe it's a family-owned biz. Maybe it's passed down from generation to generation.
Could be. It could be because there's a lot of comic book characters that have.
I mean, look at Vader. He's a walking cyborg.
Implants, and we've seen different characters with.
Yep.
And Lobot.
Oh yeah, there's plenty of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
It's like I said. I mean, that would be a nice, cool little connection. I don't know. I could get on board with that. Yeah, like I said, I have no idea where they're going with the ending of this, but I'm excited. I'm also sad because I don't want it to end because I've enjoyed it.
I don't want it to end either, but they're rewatchable.
They are, and they're glorious when you do that. I mean, I want to say since 5 aired on Wednesday. Oh, let me tell you this story. Not that anyone cares, but so it aired Wednesday, and I had to work this Wednesday because my schedule fluctuates throughout the month. The first 2 weeks I have off Wednesday. The last 2 weeks I have off Thursday. So anyway, I had to work Wednesday. I get home, and wouldn't you know it, because it's like 90 out, which is unusual in Western New York. So many people were running their air conditioners. We had power outages rolling everywhere.
Oh,
so
no.
I was without power when I got home. Couldn't even watch it because I had so I didn't want to use my phone either and drain my battery. No. So I could have just used my data.
Had to wait. I was just too hot. I'm like, I was waiting. See, I was in the same boat as you. Wasn't without power. It was just so hot. And I was just waiting for things to cool down before I, sat down. Because I like to put my headphones on.
Sure.
So that, because there's fans blowing in the house and you can't hear anything.
And Dad was like, I don't want to miss one sound, one breathing sound. I want to hear it.
I didn't want to miss any of it. So.
That's funny.
Otherwise the sweat's like dripping down.
Oh, it was miserable Wednesday. It was so hot. And then once the power finally did go back on, and I didn't want no one to disturb me. I just wanted to be alone with my Star Wars. And I had to watch it, I don't know how many times afterwards. By now I've watched it probably a good 9 or 10 times.
No way.
Oh, I have. I just keep putting it on. I am so obsessed with this series.
It is the best episode, actually.
It really is.
It is. I mean, that last one.
But like I said, even Mike Chen's book, Brotherhood, because I was able to read that before this series hit, and I'm so grateful that I did, because you get to really get back into that that chemistry of this relationship of who they
Mm-hmm.
are,
Mm-hmm.
and you see the flaws within it already there, but neither one talk about it, and it's like so sad. Because had they just took a moment and sat down and just discussed, I think a lot of what transpires, wouldn't have transpired. I mean, even you go back to tie it together, you go back to Clone Wars Season 7, and you get right before Obi-Wan goes to Utapau, and right before Ahsoka goes to Mandalore, and Obi-Wan connects one last time through hologram to Ahsoka and asks her, almost pleads with her, talk to Anakin. Well, haven't you?
Mm-hmm.
Well, why can't you? I don't know if I have time. Can you talk to like he's pleading with her, talk to Anakin. I'm
Right.
worried about him. Whatever,
Right.
whatever. And she never does. And neither does he.
Mm-hmm.
And then
No.
everything happens. And then you get that moment in between Reva and Ben, and she tells him, where were you? Why didn't you stop him? And you could see him thinking, like, I had opportunity.
Oh, I should
Why
have.
didn't I
Yeah,
stop him?
he had that guilty look. Like, yeah,
Like,
you're
I should have
right.
talked to him. Ahsoka should have talked to him. Why didn't we talk to him? Kind of like those shows that you watch where they do those intervention shows. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
He really needed an intervention because think about it. When Anakin learns who Palpatine really is, the only person available to him is the one person who's doubted him all these years, Mace Windu.
Yeah. Mace Windu.
Palpatine couldn't have plotted this better. It worked out to his advantage the whole time, and it's sad.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, here's the thing. I hold him accountable, Anakin, for the choices. He made the choices. But those choices could have been made differently had he had other opportunity and other outlets to go to. But he didn't. So it's really,
Yeah.
they all have an accountability.
Well, Owen called him out on it anyway, too.
Like you trained his
And it made
father.
him uncomfortable. It made him uncomfortable. Yeah. Because he's just spouting dogma right then, even.
Oh, yeah.
This is what I'm supposed to do. The boy has to be trained.
The boy
And
has to be
the way
trained.
he sat, his voice is so Obi-Wan. Now, Ewan said he struggled with getting Obi-Wan's voice back.
And I'm glad that you say that because I wanted to talk about that. Go ahead. Go with that.
So he said he had to, he had to get how Obi-Wan talked back. And when he talked to Owen, when he said those words, because there are times when Obi-Wan talks that I'm like, no, that's not Obi-Wan.
Mm-hmm.
So, he was struggling, but when he said that, when the time comes, the boy has to be trained. I'm like, that's Obi-Wan right there.
That is. I mean, because I did struggle in this last part when he addresses everyone.
Yeah.
Like that speech in the beginning, I don't hear Obi-Wan.
Mm-hmm.
It's not his typical, I guess, mannerisms in his voice. The enunciation seems off. But as he gets further into it, then it's there. But in the beginning, it's so... And I'm wondering, too, if that was done on purpose, because this is his first real strategic speech since the Clone Wars.
Right.
He hasn't had to address a group of people, soldiers or anything. And these are just civilians.
Right.
To use Mace Windu's
except for that one
civilian.
guy knew he was a general. He called him general.
Mm-hmm.
But it was at that point that he's been using his full use of the Force, and I think it's all coming back to him. And I think that he really suppressed everything about who he used to be, and was like that one poor Jedi that he said, you need to just bury that lightsaber in the sand and hide.
Yeah.
And that Jedi was very shocked,
Yeah, he was like,
Oh,
who
and
are
even
you? You're once a great Jedi.
Reva was upset with him for the transmission he sent. Stay away from the temple. Remember, she mentioned that.
Yep.
That you shouldn't have sent everybody
Sent him everyone away. Yep.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. She resents him, and she resents Anakin. So it's yeah. But here's the thing: him doing that stand and, going into it with the whole, addressing the group and then saying he wants to request time with Riva, he is starting to get back to his old self as what he was known for, the negotiator.
Yes.
That's what he is. He negotiates.
Yeah.
He has a way with talking and being almost diplomatic in a sense, not taking a side and actually wording things to make it seem like he's with you. Even though he may not be, he's going to make it seem like he is 100% with you, just like he did with Riva. And then at the end, she realized she was a sucker. She fell for it, and that's sad. But like I said, it was the opportunity Obi-Wan needed to get ultimately, and it's, as much as it was for everybody else off the world, ultimately to get Leia home, because she and Luke are the hope for the future. Ultimately, that's the end game. And he knows that.
Yeah.
And that...
Yeah.
It's almost opposite of what he's been trained for, which was, as a Jedi, it's not about saving that one life. It's about saving a bunch of lives. But what he's actually doing is the opposite. It's all about that two lives, actually, if you think about it. It's Luke and Leia. That's the end game. Again,
for him. Yeah.
For him, because that's his mission. At the end of the day, it's to protect Luke and Leia and to get them trained, because when the time is right, they need to make that move. It's just, the way you look at A New Hope now so differently because of this.
Oh, obviously.
But it was always good, but it's like, now we have, think of this, the importance of the original Star Wars, which is A New Hope, but it was just Star Wars. Obviously is more important than any of us, even as fans, ever thought, because now we not only have one story to enhance it, which was Rogue One, we now have a full other series, which if you add up all the hours is equivalent to a trilogy.
Yeah.
So you're talking almost 4 movies to enhance one, which was the original. It's interesting.
The idea of the path. We were talking about this on off air. The idea of the path, and Tala's, part of that mission, and all the people that were in that last episode, that was what that was all about. It was, basically an underground railroad for force sensitive people. And
that's awesome.
That was so cool.
And Jabin has been used before in Legends. I know it was in comics.
Yeah. It
wasn't
was also in Rebels.
It was in Rebels too. I think so. Well, Gorel was. That I know. The place that Tala mentions. Gorel was definitely mentioned in Rebels.
Oh, yeah.
But, so I was like, wow, they're really just pulling all this stuff, out. But here's the thing. Even Dave has said several times that if they can take something out of Legends and it makes sense with the story that they're telling, then they're going to use it. But it has to make sense. It can't just be, well, I like this, so I'm going to use it.
So, no Luke-ooks. Sorry.
I know, right?
Please, no Luke-ooks.
What about no Leia? Leia?
I don't think they cloned her. But.
I'm just making jokes. But why not? No, I'm just kidding. Like I said, I'm just tickled with everything that they've done. And the fact that they kicked this off at Celebration, too. I can't even tell you how fun that was, because
Did you get to watch the first episode with everybody in the room?
No. I did not know, because you had to be at the actual kickoff ceremony to get that,
to do that
privilege.
Okay.
But I was on the podcast stage at the same time that was going on, so there was no chance for that to happen. Which is all well and good. I got to sit and talk the High Republic with the Cantina cast and Claudia Gray. So, it is what it is.
Know, it is. But see, nothing is more good for the soul for a Star Wars fan than to sit in an auditorium and watch a Star Wars together. The vibration of everybody just vibing together, and everybody saying the lines before they happen, and
Right? No,
Oh,
yeah, and
it's
it's
so
been a
much fun.
while. But
It's
I
so
mean,
much
I got
fun.
to watch it in my hotel room because I remember
Yeah.
I was sitting with my husband. It was the first day, and we're eating dinner finally. And I just happened to look at my phone. I go, oh, they're premiering it early. Like, I don't have to get up in
Yeah.
the middle of the night. I was like, oh, that's awesome. I go,
And
okay, well,
two
and
episodes
two, and
too.
I was like in
Yeah.
shock. I said, okay, well, this is where I leave you. And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, you could stay here, which was like we had like this we had like a mini suite, so we had like a sitting
Mhm.
area, and the bedroom had a door on it, so it could keep them separate. I said, well, I'm gonna go in the bedroom with my laptop. You can stay out here until I'm done because I wanted to watch it inside.
Sounds sketchy.
Well, because I knew he wouldn't be interested. He'd be like, really? I'm going to
Oh,
watch your
and you,
laptop? Because it's a small
oh man.
screen, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I have to watch this. And I did. But the sad part was, because I was so exhausted, I passed out during it.
Oh, poor
So in the
thing.
morning, I had to get up and get my coffee and watch it again. And I was like, it was just like, really? Because I passed out. You're tired,
I know. It
And he didn't
happens to me.
understand. He's like, it's a vacation. I'm like, no, it's about networking, and I'm going to be running all day long. And you are, and you're
It's not a
exhausted.
vacation, a
It's not a
celebration. Are you
vacation.
kidding?
No, it's far from that. You don't sleep, you barely eat, and you feel like your legs
Yeah.
are going to fall off.
Yeah.
It's the name of the game,
You need
man.
a scooter at the next
I
one, dear.
I need something.
Something.
I
Why
don't
don't we, you know
know.
what? We get segways and
Right? Oh my gosh. I would love to go to the one in London, but I don't think that's going to happen.
no, that's
Um,
still too far away
And
for
there's
me
not
to.
enough time in between for me to restore my bank account
No, they
from the last. Yeah,
usually eat
yeah.
your finances really quickly.
And like I said, flying, and that's just it. Being in Buffalo and going to California, that's on the other side of the
That's far
country.
enough.
Yeah, and now going to a completely
London?
different
No, or wherever. Is it
country,
London?
and it's an
No,
all-day affair to fly like
no.
that.
And then the jet lag and the
Oh, it
sorry.
was awful. It took me a
I'll
good couple
just
of weeks to get back.
yeah. So
And
can you
I'm a lot
imagine the
older.
jet lag? Imagine the jet lag to the UK. So yeah,
Though I would
no.
love it, but like I said to my husband, if we were to go there, I would need 2 weeks because I'd want a
Oh
week to do
yeah.
celebration and then a week to.
You're not,
You
yeah,
can't
why?
go there and not
No.
go
See
tour,
stuff. You gotta
right?
see
Not
stuff.
just Star Wars stuff. I have to go.
Yeah, it's
You
not worth
know,
it. All that
Mm-mm.
money just to do
Nope.
Star Wars. Sorry.
No.
I love Star Wars. Don't think I.
I know what you meant. I know what you meant, but I feel the same way. You just can't. And it's kind of like how I felt about the celebrations. Like, we really should have got there on Sunday or Monday before, did some more extra things, and we didn't. And I feel like we missed out on that because you're like you said. I mean, it's when you do Star Wars Celebration, it's work. It really is. You're meeting people. You're catching up. You're doing interviews.
And then
It's
add cosplay to that. That's
well for
exhausting
you,
too. For
yeah.
me, I don't know if I'll ever be doing that again, but still, when you add that to the mix, then yeah,
It's a lot.
it was a
It's
lot
a
of work.
lot. And the costumes were great this year. A lot of High Republic
Mm.
stuff, which I was happy to
Cool.
see because it's just books. I mean, there's no movies to
Yeah.
go on. It's based off of what you see on the concept art,
On the covers.
Yep. So
Oh,
that was cool. That was really
oh.
someone had a cardboard cutout of Geode. I was dying. So I absolutely loved it. Yeah. So it was a great time. Just short lived as always. It flies by. So
It does.
it does.
But
But yeah, Kenobi. And then we got Andor, what, August
I
31st? I
know.
think it's
It's
August
like I
31st.
didn't think it would have to. I thought we had to wait longer for that one. I'm
No. So it's
excited
like a
for that
month
one
after
too.
our birthdays. See?
Okay. Ooh.
I'm
I must
excited.
fight since I was 16
6
years
years. No,
old. Well, I
six.
say
Six.
16, but he
Six
was
for
6.
him. Yeah, six for him. I'm excited. I mean, what's not to be, and then we got Bad Batch too we're supposed to get this year.
That's not till like fall, right?
Right.
Like,
But here's the thing, we get
yeah.
this, we get a month gap, and then we get Andor. Then that'll probably finish, and then we'll probably get the
Then we'll
Bad
get,
Batch.
yeah. Well, they're probably they're putting that time in between so that everybody can catch up because not
Mm-hmm.
everybody Although if you're a hardcore fan,
Oh,
there's some
yeah.
people that are getting up crack of dawn. So
Well,
what?
and here's the thing. I mean, Disney Plus has said that Kenobi really just, like, the numbers, it beat everything that they've premiered. Everything. Kenobi is, like, number one,
Wow. Most
which I'm not
anticipated. Yeah.
surprised. Yeah,
No.
I mean,
Yeah.
again, you're talking iconic characters. Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker, Darth Vader. I mean, Leia, Luke. I mean, all of them, it's just,
Mm-hmm.
what's not to love? That is the core of Star Wars right there. So,
The
yeah,
legacy.
exactly. It is a
The
legacy.
legacy of Star Wars.
Yeah.
I
So
can't wait
I'm
for
happy.
next for Wednesday.
All right.
Maybe
Oh,
we
there he
can
is. So what's the one thing,
Luke.
if you could pick one thing, what's the one thing you want in the final episode besides sleeping
I
Luke?
I would like to just see interaction between Luke and Baru. You
Okay.
know, I really, other than her saying most of his friends have gone. You can't keep him here forever, Owen. I said that
Right?
backwards, but anyway, you know
He's got too much of his father in him.
that. Yeah,
Scary thought right there, Baru.
because we
Just
had
saying.
some. I know we had some really great parenting between Leia and Bria and
Bale, the little
Bale. That
pinky. Oh
the
my God.
whole that all of that was
Beautiful.
awesome parenting examples. I just want to see the same in Luke's life because I honestly don't think that he had a bad childhood experience.
I don't either. Especially
So,
seeing what we saw now, I think Owen's gruffness is based off of love and protection. He wants to
right,
keep Luke safe. He doesn't want the same turnout that happened to Anakin.
right.
He doesn't want
Well,
that.
I think that in protecting, yeah, he can probably be a little harsh with Luke because he's trying to protect him and keep him with him and doesn't want him to end up like his father.
Right.
But Baru was like his his not his moral conscience, but his trying to help uh Owen see Luke from a different perspective, that he can't be there forever. And I
Right.
and I you know and I think maybe that she was more of an advocate for his adventures,
Oh, yeah.
even if some of them might have been dangerous, like just like can I have some credits for some power for my speeder.
Right.
Uncle Owen won't give me any, and Aunt Beru gives it to him, that kind of thing, because she wants to see him have fun,
Yeah.
where he doesn't. He
I
thinks
can
fun
see
is
that.
dangerous because he's the kind of guy who's like fun is dangerous.
And I personally would love to see, and I don't think they would ever go this far, but there's a moment and it's Legends, there's a moment in Troy Denning's book of Tatooine Ghost, where Leia goes as an adult, after the Battle of Endor, goes to Tatooine and finds the Lars homestead, and there's new owners there, which obviously this is all legend, so obviously that doesn't happen. But anyway, they had saved some stuff that had been left in the home, and they give it to Leia because she's, family, in a sense, from
Mm-hmm.
that family. And what's in it is almost like the Calrissian Chronicles. There's a diary, a hologram diary of Shmi every day until she died, leaving messages to Anakin. It's like a daily diary,
Right, right.
and where she would talk to him and record whatever was going on. And she recorded, like, today's my happy day, I'm getting married to this man. Like, all of it's there. So I would love if that was a thing that they would pull out of Legends, make it canon, where Beru snuck it and gave it to Luke. Here's your grandmother. But then again, we know that would go
Oh, we
against,
can't. He
right,
doesn't
unless she doesn't
know.
say
No.
anything about you
Yeah.
left to become a Jedi. She could say that you left. You know what I mean? I'm sorry that I just beeped. I hope that wasn't too loud. It was my Gmail
Yeah.
needs to change its settings. Okay. But anyway, sorry.
Yeah.
But it would be kind of cool, like, especially if they could use it if she didn't leave messages like that. about you went off to the Jedi. She could say that you're not here. You know, I miss you, things like that. And, you know, he would have, you know, what would he know? You know, but it would be kind of cool if
Yeah.
they had something of Shmi, because we know her at this point, as far as we are aware, her gravesite's still there. You know, that is his grandma. I don't know. It would just be kind of cool to give him something. Something.
Yeah.
But again, is that even safe? I don't know. You know, and that could be why, I forget where it's mentioned that they do say that Owen does move Shmi's gravesite.
Oh.
So no one
You
can
know,
come and question.
yeah, that's just it. So I don't think that, I mean, it sounds like it might be cool, but I don't think he has anything to do with Shmi or knows anything about her, because
No.
he
It's
is
just sad to
clueless,
me.
continuing to be until, and even Ben keeps him clueless.
Well,
Certain
yeah.
points of view.
From what I
So,
told you is true from a certain point of view. Yeah.
so,
Yeah. I don't know. There's a lot.
I just love all the connecting and all the new stuff, and it's so much fun. And I think that our cups are running over, just like you said, of Star Wars goodness.
Yes.
And
Very happy.
all y'all negative peoples need to be, I don't know, tap into your inner child for a little bit.
Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. Let the
Yeah.
emotions take over and just, you know, like I said,
Enjoy.
exactly. I can't tell you how much I've cried over this
You
series. Like
know,
just, and it's been happy tears too, you know, like, oh my God,
yeah.
I can't believe we're getting this, you know, and it's like, yeah,
Stormtroopers cannot shoot anything.
they're horrible.
That whole scene of like, oh, they're gonna die, they're gonna die, they're gonna die. But they were really
Yeah.
bad shots. We were lucky they were really bad shots for most of the time.
Yep. Oh
So
yeah, I think the clones did a lot better than the stormtroopers did.
they did. They did.
Yeah, but you
They
know,
were
that
better
costs
guys.
money to keep those cloning facilities open and running. So,
Yeah.
yep.
What fun.
What
Well,
fun. We're going on 2 hours here,
I
dear.
know
I think we need to,
we need to
yeah,
cut it off. Cut it off.
right. Oh, Neil's going to be in London.
Oh,
I want
yay.
to. If I could
I
find a
do
way,
too.
I would go, but
Remember he came all the way out here all
he
those years
did.
ago.
He did.
Yeah.
It's a lot, and I'm thankful that they all get to have it there,
They
because it
do.
should be.
Yeah.
It should
It
be.
should.
It should be equal. It
Flipped
really
back and
should.
forth. Yeah.
Yep. It should. Absolutely, because it's a lot. It's a
So,
lot.
you know what? I hope he gets to see Launch Guy. I don't think you can see this in my picture.
No, I can't. Where is he? There he is. Launch guy. Very nice.
So maybe he'll be there, because he doesn't ever come to the States. But maybe he'll get to see Launch Guy, Neil. Look for Launch Guy.
In a year, I think things will be a lot different too.
Tell him I
So
say hello.
exactly. Oh my gosh. You think we might get him in the Andor series? Is it possible?
Well, he was
He'd be
on
alive.
Leia's. He was part of.
Wait a minute, he'd be alive.
He would be Toshma Jeffkin.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
We'll have to see.
He worked
Anything's
on the
possible.
Organa's
The Tantive 5, right?
transports.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see. Yeah.
Ooh!
All right. I know so much.
Well, we gotta stop.
Right. Well, at that note, I guess we should sign off.
Yeah.
It was great doing this. It's been a while, so it was good to catch up.
It's been a while. It was nice to just jump on and freeform conversation about the Kenobi show and catch up and get some Star Wars excitement and conversation. And
Yep, I agree.
everybody can still find me at the same places, although I'm not on social media as much as I used to be, but I'm working on it, getting back on there. And Becca's been holding down the fort.
Trying. Yeah, it's been
holding down the fort.
It's a lot. There's a lot going on, but yeah, I mean, if you look at the banner, all of our little where we can be found, it's all there. So definitely follow us on Twitter at Castle Kanata, on Instagram and Facebook at Kanata's Castle. You can also follow us at Pitiful Little Band. That's our network where you'll find Kanata's Castle, Idiot's Array, and Tarkin's Top Shelf. And you can also follow Red5Mom at Red5Mom because that's where she's at everywhere. Me, it's at You Are Angel B, and that's basically everywhere unless you're on Facebook. It's just Becca Benjamin. But yeah, and that's about it. And hopefully we'll start coming back on a regular basis. You know, at least bi-weekly, that'd be great. But we'll keep you guys posted. So look for that.
We'll definitely try and get together and talk about the final episode because
absolutely.
I'm sure it's going to be epic.
Oh my God, it's going to be crazy. I'll probably be dead. I won't have to. It's just going to be like little Luke. Oh my gosh. Just think he's only, 10 right now. So
I know. He's such a peanut.
He really, really is.
Peanut in his bed.
Meanwhile, you know, his twin sister is living in royalty. I'm sorry. It's okay. Right. It's all good. It's all good.
All right, kids. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Yes. May the force be with you.
May the force be with you.